In the last episode of the Fiorentina Career Mode, we signed Isco from Real Madrid on a pre-contract deal, and in a lengthy Europa League campaign that saw us reach the final, we unfortunately lost the match 1-0 to Chelsea. Hey, what's going on everyone? Flick here. Welcome back to another episode of our FIFA 21 Fiorentina Career Mode. This is episode number 5 and the start to season 3. And while we're embarking on a new campaign at the club, we've got some familiar competitions. A 5th place finish in Serie A and a loss in the Europa League final last season means that we are once again in Europa League. Of course, it would be ideal to make progress year after year, but looking at this squad, you've got to think that we're favorites for Europa League this time around. We're actually still yet to lift a trophy in this save, but I think that will be changing this year as we're going to make the squad even better. A pre-contract player rival, Isco, joined the club from Real Madrid. Even though he's 30 years old, I think his style of play is going to excel here in Serie A. Pace isn't all that important for our midfielders, rather they're going to act as playmakers and hopefully provide lots of assists for our strikers. So this is kind of what I'm thinking for our season 3 tactics. Isco going into the right center attacking mid position. Castrovilli will now need to act more as a substitute, but I still see him getting lots of play time, and with him being a younger player, he's only going to grow in his rating. Eventually he'll take over for either Bonaventura or Isco in a few seasons time. There's the question though whether we should be balancing out this squad even further. With us being in Europa League once again, I think some of our highest rated players like Dromgoski, Milinkovic, Tekatito, and Vlahovic are definitely going to garner interest from other clubs. So I think it's only fair that we let a player leave in order to keep this career mode realistic and add to some more storylines for the save. It didn't take long for us to receive an offer for Tekatito. He was kind of the player I was leaning towards selling, as he was one of the transfers that we made in season 1. Unfortunately, Fiorentina never ended up signing him IRL, so looks like he'll be heading over to Chelsea. You can see his market value between 74.5 million and 109.2 mil. We ultimately agreed at an 80 million price tag. Would have liked to receive a bit more, but it's still a big move for him. At 29 years old, he's entering really the prime of his career, and hopefully he'll feature plenty for the Blues in London. A big shout out to y'all for the support you continue to show on this Fiorentina career mode. Over the last week, episode 4 actually outperformed the first episode of this series, which doesn't usually happen for series on YouTube, but it goes to show how incredible this community is. I truly appreciate it, and if y'all could continue to show that support by leaving a like and subscribing if you're new, that would be amazing. As far as funds go, money is never going to be an issue for us in this save. It's really just a matter of making some realistic signings. I think this 120 million was even before the Tekatito transfer, so we should be closer to the 200 million mark. So my thought process is that we're going to try to achieve as many of these board objectives as possible. And as we start to qualify for new competitions like Champions League, we can also start ramping up the quality of our signings. We will have another exciting player arrive for season 3 though. Nicolas Gonzalez has officially been confirmed at Fiorentina. It looks like he's going to play as a winger for them with both Ribery and Vlahovic still at the club. And I honestly think that's where he's going to perform best in this team, as it is one of his secondary positions and probably the area that we need to improve upon the most. This was a 50 million euro transfer from Southampton, signing as a crucial first team player to a 5-year deal worth 80 grand a week. Last season, I left it up to a vote as to which player we should sign on a pre-contract basis. And while we went with Isco, Ilicic was one of the players we were considering. And when I saw he was a free agent for season 3, I couldn't pass up on signing him. I feel like we're in need of a clinical goal scorer, and with him being a former Fiorentina player at an 82 overall, I think he's going to be a welcome addition to the team. He'll serve as an important player to the club for the next season or two before his overall rating starts to drop too much, signing on a free transfer to a 60 grand a week contract. With so many signings made, I felt like it was finally time to let more players depart the club, including a former captain for us at Fiorentina. Pizzella was our season 1 captain, and with him being the 4th choice center back, I feel like it is probably best to let him get more play time for a Liga club in Rennes. He'll be joining for 13.8 million. Saponara also heading to Liga in Bordeaux. And Alfred Duncan, he was on loan at Cagliari to start this career mode. He's heading there on a permanent basis for 4.4 mil. It's pretty shocking to see the number of players that are being sent out on loan at the club. We must be approaching our max squad size of 50, and I'll probably make another decision where we decide on which one of these youth academy players are actually going to reach the peak potential. Those that aren't will most likely be transfer listed, but the two that I'll talk about now are definitely some of the best prospects that we found so far through our youth academy scouting. Mauro Grosso, we talked about him a little bit, our center attack mid from Italy. He's going out on loan in this transfer window, And then I decided to go with Gabriel Moreira as the Rui Costa regen of sorts. He's listed as a center forward. We're going to convert him to a center attacking mid because I wasn't able to loan him out in the summer. So while he's still with us at Fiorentina, I figure we'll feature him in the occasional match, work on some development plans, and hopefully he can grow in his rating, start working toward that 86 to 94 potential. I do want to mention though that we had 2 other Portuguese Youth Academy players. I'm not going to forget about them completely. We're going to switch them over to center attacking mid and see how they progress. We'll list them out on loan. If they see an improvement in their rating, maybe they'll end up taking over as the Rui Costa regen. We'll just have to see in a few seasons time. But we'll keep the Youth Academy scouting going here, setting up a network in Italy for 6 months, looking for any type of player. It's been a while since we last set up a scouting network in South America, so Uruguay will be our country of choice for 6 months, looking for a physically strong player. Finally, setting up a network in Morocco, looking for a technically gifted player. If you've been playing FIFA for a while, specifically the FIFA 13 to 16 era, you'll know Morocco used to have a ton of 5-star skillers like Adel Taarabt, so hopefully we can find the next one here. Lots of depth plan updates as we had a few players returning from loan spells. Rasmussen has actually developed quite well in this save. He's up to a 76 overall at 25 years old. We're also going to be using the stopper depth plan for him, so he can probably hit the upper 70s, lower 80s by the end of this career mode. Romano, we've decided to keep him out on the wing, but switch him over to the right-hand side. So we'll be sticking on the wide playmaker development plan. As mentioned, Moreira will be working towards a center attacking mid role. That gave him a +4 in his rating, now working as an advanced playmaker. We've optioned to use Gonzalez more as a winger than a striker, so he'll be on the wide winger development plan. Gakorn started as a right wing. We switched him over to striker, and now I think he's actually going to get a +1 in his rating at center forward. Also using the Bombardier development plan, which is super effective toward pace and shooting. He's still growing at 31 years old. I'm pretty happy with our fixture selection for the start of this season 3 campaign. I feel like we can get acclimated to some Serie A matches before we kick off the Europa League group stage, as we aim to finish top of our group this time around. 3 new players in this Fiorentina starting 11 for season 3, and I am extremely happy with the squad that we've managed to build. We've got a good mixture of both youth and experience, some club legends of the past, and maybe some club legends of the future. Sampdoria will be our first test in the league, probably a side that has finished mid-table the last few years. A standout name in their squad would be Damsgaard, who is having quite the campaign for Denmark at the Euros. But with this being a home fixture and also a debut for several players in the starting 11, I think a lot of attention has to go towards the likes of Isco, Gonzalez, and Ilicic. It didn't take long for us to start developing chemistry with this new set of Fiorentina players. Bonaventura just about scoring the opening goal 7 minutes in, unfortunately dragging that effort wide. Maybe should have taken a lesson from our manager there on how to finish, but I'm more concerned about the style of play, because if we continue creating chances like that all season, I think we can do some big things. Also have to give some credit to the Sampdoria defense. Their keeper in particular made some huge stops throughout this one. As we get into the second half, Ilicic, this is his first chance to score a goal. Decent save from Aldero to deny the effort, and unfortunately we cannot get the follow up. But I still think these 90 minutes was a good chance for us to start getting used to Ilicic's style of play. He's not going to be quick, but he has some fantastic strength on the ball, and of course his shooting and passing ability is second to none. As this time around, 1-1 with the keeper, he's going to take this on his non-preferred right foot, and no problem there as he finds the back of the net, finally giving us the go-ahead goal 67 minutes into the match. It's exactly why we brought him into the squad. I know he's got heaps of experience in Serie A, and this is the sort of veteran leadership that we need if we want to take the step up to Champions League and ultimately win Europa League this season. That'll be 3 points added to our league tally. We'll now turn attention towards continental competitions. I think it's fair to say that our opponents in the Europa League group stage are easier this year than they were last season. No Premier League opposition, but our opponents today are probably going to be the toughest test in our group. Dynamo Kiev are a sneaky squad a few seasons into career mode. They've got some high potential players, and they've managed to retain good talent like Popov at left center back, but we were still by far the dominant side in the simulated fixture, generating 5 shots, 4 on target, and also picking up a 2-1 victory. I think the main concern is going to be stamina, because now we need to balance 3 different competitions. Serie A, Coppa Italia, and Europa League means that we're going to have some tired players, but hopefully the signings we made in the offseason will be enough to provide needed cover. This is what I mean though. Kiev playing with a lot of confidence, a complete switch of play from the right side to the left. Now Rodriguez driving inside the box, It's a good job from Amrabat to get the block in. Otherwise, I think Dromgoski would have had some trouble with that one. What a pass here from Isco, though. This is why we signed him. And our homegrown talent, Romano, I almost feel like he mishit it, but it worked out in his favor, pretty much staying on the ground the entire way. That'll give us the go-ahead goal in this one and hopefully kickstart Romano's third season campaign. It seems like this is the way that we need to utilize our tactics, working the ball from one side to the other. Romano once again played through on goal. This is where the inexperience still comes into play, missing that one by a pretty fair margin. Into the second half, though, Bonaventura to Ilicic. He takes a heavy touch and sets itself up perfectly. The left-footed finesse shot didn't seem to have a lot of power, but the placement was extraordinary. The fact that he also had a defender closing down the space, it's a well-timed finish and should be enough to give us 3 points in this match. With that said, we can experiment a little bit with tactics toward the end of this one. Isco not known to have the best stamina, so Castrovilli getting the minutes just like I promised at the start of this episode, and Gonzalez burning by the Kiev defender with ease. Couple of heavy touches, finds Vlahovic in the middle, and on his right foot will make things 3. I think dynamic potential has already started to play a role in Vlahovic's development because he only has like 84 or so potential to start off the save. And because he's still such a young player, he has a lot of room for growth. But this is some good play from Kiev. I think they deserved more out of this match, and they certainly deserved at least 1 goal. I still think they're favorites to advance out of the group alongside us, but we'll have to see how things progress as we match up against some of our other opponents. Trabzonspor will be our next opponent in the group. The Turkish side is regularly competing to be one of the top sides in the Super League. And no, I'm not talking about the Super League. I'm talking about the top flight of Turkish football. But again, we had some dominant stats in the simulated fixture, but narrowly won the match 1-0. This is where the question of consistency will start to factor in, whether we can maintain a strong defensive performance where we only conceded 0 goals in the first match, 1 goal in the second match. Maybe we can replicate a similar result here. And of course, I would be very happy if we could maintain the same sort of offensive form. Vlahovic and Ilicic has proved to be a pretty successful partnership. You've got some youth, you've got some experience, and 2 different style of players, kind of shown by this build-up play. Vlahovic playing through our number 72 in a perfect fashion. And it's almost like it's a flashback in time for him. He was no longer a part of Atalanta's plans, but he plays a big role for us at Fiorentina. We need to keep pushing on, though, and try to get a second goal. Vlahovic waiting for the run from Bonaventura, and now through to Castrovilli. Very similar to the build-up that we had in the first match with Bonaventura, but the shot narrowly going wide. Gonzalez yet to get a goal or assist for us, but sending the ball in the right areas, and he still needs to adjust a little bit to our tactics, and I think with time, he can be the impact player from us down the left. But we were fortunate not to concede the equalizer as we approach the end of the first half. It's Castrovilli who will start the counter-attack for us. Some quick 1-2 play between our strikers. Vlahovic with loads of space in front of him. In the past, I feel like I've overthought things a little bit with Vlahovic, trying to get it on his preferred left foot. But this time, as he grows in confidence, we're going to have faith with his weak foot as he buries this effort cross goal, doubling our lead and setting us up for a successful second half. We did have one nervy moment, though, before the break off of a set piece. It had to be a fantastic save from Dromgoski to deny that effort. We've talked about him before, but he's proven to be the best goalkeeper in Italy, and now also showing his worth in other competitions. We'll make a change at the 52nd minute mark. Kouame hasn't featured as much for us at Fiorentina, but I think these are the sort of matches where he can play more of a role. His acceleration has by far been his most successful statistic and attribute of his game, and against a tired defense, it's where he could score another counter-attacking goal. But it's actually going to be us to concede first, as Trabzonspor get a little bit lucky with the rebound going straight back to one of their players. They'll get a goal back, but we had a pretty successful 30 minutes, not allowing too many defensive chances, and that will be enough for us to keep our unbeaten streak alive in today's episode. 3 more points added to our Europa League group, which combined with the simulated fixtures that we've also won, probably means that we've advanced out of our group at the very least. Sturm Graz are a side out of Austria, and while they're probably outshadowed by the likes of RB Salzburg, Rapid Wien, and Austria Wien, they've made it to this Europa League group stage for a reason, and we're not going to take them lightly. Again, it's a close victory in the simulated match, another away fixture as we won that 2-1. So for this final match, my ambition is to let some of our new players shine and finish the group stage unbeaten. Gonzalez will start this match's highlights down the left wing. You can see Ilicic asking for the ball. He's going to be delivered across that nearly found its way to the far post. Quality save from the Sturm Graz keeper as they will get a highlight. It's Winsheimer who dribbles around a few of our players, Dromgoski, with another good save on the other end. It's Bonaventura, who just hasn't found his way towards goal quite as well. Usually clinical in these sort of situations, he's been dragging efforts wide. Maybe this will be the season where time finally catches up with him. So as we move forward to the second half, we will be making a change. Bonaventura taken off, and our Portuguese Youth Academy player, Moreira, being brought on as a center attacking mid. For right now, he's got the number 33, but as he starts to progress and other kits open up, we may give him the same number that Rui Costa wore at Fiorentina, which I believe is the number 10. But with this match still level in the 69th minute, I was afraid that we might not get the full 3 points. Great save here from Dromgoski, and somehow the follow-up effort will be dragged wide. This is from our opponent's captain as well. You would expect him to be finding the back of the net, even if there was some pressure on the shot. Not much time remaining, and again, we're going to call upon Kouame to maybe make the difference in this one. Just 7 minutes remaining, and it's Moreira who will be getting his first touches on the ball. Precise dribbling to find Kouame, had the space open up, and that's a deadly finish on the near post. No way the keeper can save that one. And it seems like we found the perfect balance between our strikers, with Ilicic and Vlahovic contributing the most goals, and then Kouame coming on as an impact sub while he still grows in his rating. And I think he can play a big role for Fiorentina in this save, as well as IRL. It's Castrovilli, another one of our substitutes, who will get another goal with just 1 minute remaining in this one. It's been a while since we last had a cinematic celebration. Always good to see that to close out our Europa League campaign in the group stage. And there you have it, 6 wins from 6, 18 points out of the group stage, as we'll advance to the round of 32 in the next episode. But before this video comes to a close, I do want to focus one more match on Serie A. We've done quite well in the table so far, 14 matches played, 31 points. A win here could put us equal on points with first place Atalanta, but it's a quality Napoli side that we'll need to get through. We played them in season 1 of this career mode, and a lot of their key players still at the squad. Koulibaly at center back, but with another match at home, I'm confident that we can square up well against Napoli. We've been in good form, and we can pick up another win even if they've made transfers. The key to us picking up a victory last time around against Napoli is that we scored an early goal, and I believe it was Vlahovic that scored it in season 1. It'll be him again in season 3. Setting the defender one way, shooting the other way, and that is 1-0 17 minutes into this one. This has kind of been the breakout year for Vlahovic. Of course, we've had so much confidence in him throughout this career mode, but now goals are also starting to factor into the equation. Lozano with a chance in the 39th minute, and this ended up being a good save on Dromgoski's near post, only out for a corner kick. We'll absolutely take that. As we're now into the second half, Kouame playing through Nico Gonzalez, still yet to score for us at Fiorentina, and still will not get his goal despite challenging the Napoli keeper. Nice bit of composure there from our defense, but I can't say the same thing about the ensuing play. It seems to happen at least once in every single save. We're just trying to go on a quick counterattack, and sometimes the ball deflects off of your own players. Not much we can do about that. We just need to laugh it off and try to find this winner in the last few minutes. To help improve our chances, we will make a late substitution. It's Kouame brought off and Ilicic brought on in the 64th. He's going to get involved right away, playing through Vlahovic, who shielded the ball off of the Napoli defender, and this time again on his left foot, clinical in front of goal. He's going to give us the 2-1 advantage with just 10 or so minutes left in this one. And of course, you don't need to ask much more from our defense. We've shown that we're one of the best defensive sides in Italy, as the scoreline stays exactly the same. That's 3 more points added to our Serie A total. But of course, we still got a mid-season recap to cover, as well as an important decision for y'all to make for the next episode. So let's get going with that. The signings that we made have certainly helped the quality of this squad. Right now, we're 3rd place in Serie A, but we're not exactly out of it yet. There are 5 teams competing for 4 Champions League spots. Of course, we're going to do our best to win Europa League this time around, but top 4 in Serie A is also going to be a big ambition. I would consider this season has been a turning point for Vlahovic as he grows in his confidence and his finishing abilities, up to an 84 overall, leading the club in goals with 9 from 22. Bonaventura in second with 7 from 22, and our new signing Gonzalez, 6 goals from 23. The output that Bonaventura continues to contribute season after season is truly remarkable. He leads the club in assists, 5 assists from 22, with both Isco and Ilicic with 4 assists. We all know with the end of the episode comes decision time, and it's an important decision for us to make as we try to fulfill this brand exposure objective of signing one crucial first team player assigned to the defender position. Option 1 is for us to sign a right back and then development plan them to a right wing back or right midfielder, so we can have a new player for Romano, who's still a little bit lower in his overall. For the most part, I've added some Premier League players that aren't competing in Europa League at this point in time, and I think they would all be welcome additions to us at Fiorentina. Option 2 would be for us to sign a center back. Technically, we would list them as a crucial player in their contract, but I think of them as extra cover in case one of our current starting 11 center backs leave the club at a later point in time. I want to give a shout out to channel members for supporting what we do on YouTube. If you ever want to learn more about the membership program, click the join button right underneath the video and unlock some exclusive perks for the channel. But I look forward to reviewing your suggestions for the upcoming January transfer window. We're on path to make some history for Fiorentina in season 3, and hopefully we can keep up that good form. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. But until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.